Thank you for joining Barbara Ruiz. And this is our monthly Lunch and Learn. My name is Gilberto Taide. I'm the director of the Greater North Texas Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And I'm excited because today we have Barbara Ruiz Quintana. And she has a ton of experience in franchising. So we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like. But Barbara, did you want to give a brief introduction?
Yes, thank you, Gilberto, for inviting me. Well, I have about 17 years of experience in franchising. I am a franchisor. I have a franchise. And I'm also a franchise consultant. I can sell franchises, and I can also develop franchises from an existing business that wants to expand through the country and get more locations through the franchise business. I can help them develop their business so it becomes a franchise. So I will be happy to share some experience of what they have to do to become a franchisor.
Well, sounds good. Well, I'm excited, Barbara. And so I guess you let us know how can a person get started? Or
yeah, for sure. I have a PowerPoint presentation that includes every step you have to follow. Most of it at the beginning is legal steps you have to take to register the franchise and to develop it. And so it's regulated by the government. And so you're like a real franchise, and you don't get involved in any trouble.
Absolutely.
And commercial stuff and everything you have to do to start franchising your business, which is an excellent way to grow, because it's not only you that has to invest on it, and not only you working on it, but it is all your franchisees investments and their work growing your brand and your concept. So it's usually an excellent idea to grow.
Yeah, so absolutely, it's a great way to make money. So you said you had a PowerPoint presentation. Did you want to pull it up, share screen?
Yeah, I will share it. 1 minute.
No worries, take your time. I think I just made you co-host, so I should be able to let you pull it up.
It's a little bit long because there are some steps that you have to take, but I hope after this talk you have a good idea of what you have to do to become. Yeah. Oh, 1 second.
Sure. And every month, and just to remind folks that are watching the recording, every month we have a different lunch and learn. So during these lunch and learns, we have different topics. We ask for feedback from our membership. So whenever they're asking for a workshop on budgeting, taxes, whatever it is, we can put that together.
Excellent.
But yeah,
I think it's an excellent way that the Chamber of Commerce helps businesses grow and develop.
absolutely. There's a lot of knowledge and a lot of Hispanics in North Texas with great professions, great careers, a lot of experience. So it definitely helps. Yes. All right. I can see your screen now.
Okay. Hold on. Let me start sharing. Okay. So if you have a question, please interrupt me so I can guess. So what I'm going to talk about today is how to franchise an existing business. So if you have a business and want to grow it through franchising, this is what you have to look at usually. It is a bit long, but it will give you a good idea of what you have to do. So first disclaimer is that I'm a franchise consultant and I have experience. I'm a franchisor, but I'm not a lawyer. So if you're going to proceed, I will definitely recommend to consult with a franchise lawyer. Okay, so what I was saying is franchising is a good way and a proven method of rapid growth, because instead of investing your money in opening a second, third, fourth location, you start growing with others people's money and their work. And when you do it in the right way, it will help you with not a lot of capital, as I said, and you don't have to sell your business like you do when you get like seed capital or some kind of private equity. So you lose part of your business. Here, you don't really lose it. You just like share locations with your franchisees. So there are many reasons for which franchising is a very good opportunity for businesses. It's also not an automatic ticket to success. There's a lot of work that has to be put on the business and different steps that you have to follow. It is like it's a little bit long of a process because you have to follow some steps. You have to look on, like you have to check the quality control of your franchisees. You have to put a lot of effort on it since it's not you, which is like opening every location. You have to check on every franchisee, looking that they're like this, the customer experience is the same anywhere where in the country where you have this location. Also, if you don't choose like good franchisees, if you don't put attention on who do you sell your franchise to, you can have a bad experience there. And if they don't perform well, you can have like also negative branding. But that's why you have to like be constant on supervising your franchises when you're. So these are like negative aspects you might get on. But it's again a really good way of growing. Your brand awareness grows a lot because you have more locations and more people know about your brand. It's less risky than just going to a bank and take a loan because you'll have to pay it back, right? Here you like support your franchisees and they also want to work because it's their money that invested. So it's like less risky. You will increase your profits, and at the end, if you want to sell your brand or your company, you will get like a much more, if you do it in the right way, your company value will be like much higher, right? Because it's probably like in different states all over the country. So you can, if you decide to sell it when it's grown, you can get great profit from it. Like some companies are sold for like millions of dollars and they start being like one roofing company. So it's a great way. You first have to figure out if you're ready to do this and see if you have like your corporate image is designed already, like, okay, you have a business and it doesn't have like different tables, or if you have like 2 or 3 locations, they have to have like a defined image. You have to have a logo or your corporate colors. So all your like corporate image has to be defined. Or if you decide to franchise, you can define it, but you have to do it before starting franchising. Okay. Also, if your business has to be profitable because your franchisees will want to make money, right? Is it popular? Do people like it? Do you have experience? Because if you open it like last year, you probably don't have enough experience to share with your franchisees, right? You have to know about your business. It's also useful if you don't have to, but it's very useful if you own more than one unit, because that way, it's like how easy it is to replicate it. And what do you have to do to replicate it? Okay. Also, do you have a good team? Because if you have a good team, you'll be able to support your franchisees, right? If you can trust your team. And you have to check if there's a market for what you sell. If probably like you have like surfing store and you want to go to a city where there's no beach, there's no market for it, right? Sometimes you have to look like how big is the market where you're planning to open.
Yeah, I did have a quick question. Yes. So it says you have to have so if you open up a franchise or you franchise your business and you have a franchisee who buys it, do you help them hire people, or is that, you share responsibilities, or how does that work?
Well, usually you help them hire people, but they do the hiring. So you will say, like, let's say like an air conditioning franchise, you tell them like, okay, you have to hire a licensed air conditioning technician, for example, and someone that will pick up the phone and do the sales. So you tell them who, and then you help them with their interviews because they don't know anything about the business. So you support them, but at the end, it's like they decide if they want to hire this person or not, and it's their responsibility. That's usually, but you can define it when you develop your franchise. You can hire for them if you want, or
okay, so you kind of come to an agreement.
yeah.
Okay.
So everything has to be defined when you're developing your franchise. That's what it is, like a big step, and it's also kind of like an investment, because there are a lot of things that have to be defined at the beginning that will work for like your whole trip of franchising. And probably when you have 1,000 franchises, the things that you defined in your first step are still gonna be there and defining what you can or you can't do, right? So that's why at the beginning it's important.
Makes sense.
Okay, so here we have the 10 steps for franchising your business. It was 8, we added some afterwards. First, you have to set up your business, like make it ready for franchising. Then I will explain it like step by step later, but find franchise professionals, because you will need like franchise lawyers to develop it, like special, like develop the how are you going to sell it. So different franchise professionals, so you have like a good model. Define your franchise model. You have to develop your legal documentation and operational manual. You have to register in different states. Develop your franchising team, sell your franchises. You have to have a franchisee support strategy when you already have franchisees. And then as time goes by, you have to update your franchise as well. So first, set up your business. So before starting, you want to have your business in shape for franchising. So see if your concept is unique, is it scalable, and how are you gonna like set it up apart from the competition. So some concept like franchise concepts are like super unique, right? Like something that no one else can do, but some others are like roofing or air conditioner. They just like are very good at it. So that's what sets them apart. So you have to define what sets you apart. Where are you gonna sell, right? It's so also another important thing is like, is the success of your business independent from a specific person? So if someone can, like your key person is not replicable, you have to, hello, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew, see you join.
Okay.
You might be joining
Okay.
my little audio, but you can go ahead.
Okay. So for example, if there's someone that only one person can do the job in the world, that's probably not very franchisable, because you won't be having this person in every location in North America, right? But if they can teach it to some other persons, like with a license or something, then it's good. So depends, it's important. And it's not, if it's not just successful because it's in a location, right? So if it's like in Times Square and it's very successful because it's in Times Square, then probably it will not be successful if it's like in 75, right? Like in any street. It doesn't have to depend on just on the location. And next one is, are you willing to be a franchisor, like vs working only at your business? Because you will have to be working with your franchisees and helping them and selling franchises, which is usually like it makes you go to a like the next step in business, because you have to learn a lot, and you'll be like talking not only to your customers, to other like entrepreneurs and other franchisors, and that makes you grow a lot and makes you like go to like higher entrepreneur words, let's say, or something. So it makes you grow and learn a lot. You also have to think if it's going to be profitable to your franchisees after paying fees and royalties, because they're going to like not only your expenses, but they are going to have other expenses, which are fees and royalties. And also you have to think if you have enough financial and human resources. Are you going to be able to do it, right?
And fees and royalties, that changes depending on the business, so it might be very different.
Yes.
Is there someone that usually helps out with finding out what are the best fees?
Yes, your franchise consultants and usually franchise consultants and the franchise developers will let you know how much can you charge. The average is like 7% of the gross sales.
Okay, that's
so,
a good.
Yeah, for the royalties, that's on average. And franchise fees is like the franchise fee you pay when you join the franchise and other fees, but they will have to be paying this. So that business has to be profitable even if they pay that.
Okay. And it says enough financial and human resources. So we just have to make sure that there's a department that helps out employees that you're hiring.
Yeah, you don't like probably at the beginning you another person can do it, or like depends how much time you have, but you have to see like, do I have time to help my franchisees? Or if not, do I have money to hire someone that will do that, right? So
okay, makes sense.
And human, like if you don't have time, do I have a team that can do it or not? Maybe I'm going to hire it or define that.
Okay, so they have to have support, some support.
Right. The next step is finding franchise professionals. That's about what you were asking before. You have to find like professionals that are good, that will help you through this process. So because usually like you know a lot about your business, but you don't know anything about franchising. So that's why it's important to find someone that really can help you and that has experience on it. And of course, a good franchise lawyer, because there's at the beginning, there's like a lot of legal documents involved and you have to set them right.
Okay.
Then you have to define your franchise model. There are many different things you can define. You just have to know what you want and define it at the beginning. For example, in terms of your franchise agreement, and if it's renewable, you can say like it's renewable every 5 years and you don't have to pay anything, or you have to pay $20,000, for example, every time you renew, or it's going to be like 10 years. And so you have to decide on different things and how much royalties you want, if you're gonna like everything about it, and your team will help you do that. Then you have to define the territory size and type. It can be like square miles, or it can be like population defined, like how many inhabitants or how many households, or depends on. You have to decide what kind of territories are going to give.
Yeah, and a lot of times I've seen like franchises, they set up next to each other, and I was like, maybe that's a good idea, right? So that's where that helps.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Franchise fees and royalties. Then you have to decide how much you're going to charge. Also, your team has to help you with this because there are a lot of commissions involved in franchise sales. So you have to think, this is what I need to start the franchise, or this is what I need, and this is what I'm going to pay for like sales commissions and all that, and you have to include that in your fees. And so you have to know how much people charge for that companies, so you can, so that's important. Also you have to like define how you're going to train, like how long is the training, where is it going to be, are you going to go to the site, are people going to your site? So all about training, commercial strategy. That's how you're gonna sell your franchise. Like, are you gonna go to shows, or are you gonna hire like are you gonna buy leads? Like different ways. And also, how are you going to sell, like your locations, how are they going to sell their product? The franchisee profile is super important as well, because if you sell it, okay, you're like excited, I'm going to sell my first franchise, and you don't sell it to the right person, it can be like a lot of trouble, because probably they don't have, they will not follow the rules, and you will always be like having to make them follow rules, or probably they don't like the industry, or you have to define what you want on a franchisee. Also, the type, what?
I was just gonna ask, is it normal to interview? I mean, I guess you have to interview the buyer.
Yeah, it's like 5 interviews, or
okay.
Your team will also help you. Like, do they have enough money? Sometimes some franchises ask, like, not just for the investment, they just want to know that they have like backup,
okay.
or like a net worth. So if, like, the first period of times of businesses, you have to like put some extra for like payroll or whatever, so they can like they won't be like lost on the first month.
Okay.
So what kinds of franchises do you want? Like absentee, so never sure, probably 2 hours a month. They just give you their money and you run the business and give them their earnings if they are.
Yeah.
Others are like semi-absentee, that's like 3 hours a day. So it's probably someone has like a job and also they're doing a franchise for like an extra. So they check it, but they have a manager operating the business, or an owner operator that will run the business completely. So you have to define what you want, and then you just go ahead with it, but it has to be defined. The supplier strategy, like how are you gonna, because if it's gonna go nationally, you have to have suppliers that can sell the goods or whatever you need to wherever your franchisees are. And then marketing, supervision, or operational strategies. How are you going to do marketing? How are you going to supervise your franchises and operation?
Oh, I like it.
So that's more or less what you have to define.
Okay.
So now we're going to talk about legal documentation. This is very important. As at the beginning is the most important part of franchise, because it's regulated by the Federal Trade Commission, and you have to comply with every rule so you don't get in trouble. So you're a franchise lawyer. It's very important that it is a franchise lawyer that develops it, not any lawyer, because they're like special things. So one of the most important documents is an FDD, the franchise disclosure document. This includes like every information, like all the information in the franchise almost, and we're gonna look at it a little bit later. And you have to hand it to your future franchisees 14 days before signing the agreement. Then the franchise agreement, and you also have to register your trademark, right? Because you don't want it to grow and then someone else suing you for using your own brand, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you have to register. Okay, the FDD is a franchise disclosure document. It's a legal document. It has to be given to the potential franchisees 14 days before signing an agreement or any money is exchanged. And so the franchisor is obliged to provide a copy of the FDD, and it has a lot of information about the franchise, so the buyer has knowledge of what they're buying. It's mostly it. They have it has a receipt at the end of the last part, and they have to sign it and give it to you back, so you can prove afterwards that you gave it to your candidate. And it's divided into 23 sections. So this will be like, if you start franchising, you will see these like all the time in your sales. So that's why it's very important. So it has 23 sections. The first one is about the franchisor. So who's the company that owns a franchise, parents, predecessors, and affiliates. And this is because some franchises are owned by someone, but before they were owned by another company, and some companies have bad reputations or something. So that buyer has to know where is it, like who owns it. The business experience that they have, if they have any litigations or if they have filed bankruptcy, initial fees, like how much is the investment for the franchise? It's like a range. Like if you're like opening in a little town and it's very cheap, that will be like your lower investment. And if you open like in Manhattan, Central Park, it will be like your highest. So you have to put like, it will go from $10,000 to 1 million. Like, it's not like that, but I'm exaggerating, but kind of like, so you have like
it's based more on, so it's based most on area, or is it like, I guess it depends what business it is too, what industry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to first define what are you like asking for to start. It's like if it's like just a van, like some construction or home improvement, it's just a van, right? So the investment is not that high. And but if you want to buy the van, it's a different investment that you lease it.
Okay, gotcha.
So you want to go to the lowest and then to the highest. If it's like you're selling a tax or something, then you can probably do it from home. You don't really need to like
a lot of initial
tax services. Yeah. So, or if you're buying, like if you're opening a restaurant, then it's a lot of investment because you have to have a construction and a lot of
equipment. Makes sense.
Well, I probably better hurry because it's long. So any other fees is other things that they're gonna pay afterwards. Initial investment is that what we were talking about, but restrictions on so if you're gonna sell your products, that goes there, like you can only buy from me, or if you can, they can buy from a special supplier, or you define that there. Franchisees obligations. So what they have to do when they join the franchise, if you have financing, sorry. What the franchisor's assistance, what you're gonna give to your, like how you're gonna assist that, the territory, the trademarks you have, any patents, copyrights, etc. Obligation to participate in that. If they have to be absent, like absentee, semi-absentee, or owner operator as well. There's the restrictions of what they can sell. Like if you have an ice cream shop, you can't sell tacos, for example. It has to say it there. Renewal termination. That's how long is the agreement, and if you can renew it. Public figures is like if you have a public figure promoting your franchise, you have to name it there. Financial, like item 19 is very important because you have to show, if you decide to show it, you have to show like real, the real performance. So usually it's audited. So you can say like, oh, I think you're gonna make $1 million next year. Some franchises do make $1 million, but they have to say like, so here are my statements. And it says here that last year we did $1 million. So contracts, and then number 23 is the receipt. And then the franchise agreement, it's where you define when you actually sign the agreement and they buy your franchise, where do you define everything about the franchise. So almost everything was already like explained in the FDD. So then you have to register your trademark, depending on the industry that you're at. That's before like also franchising.
And you can register your trademark as like your business, the name, but also maybe how you do things, because like yeah, if it's different from everybody else's, that might need a name too, right?
Yeah.
And it's a franchise lawyer that helps with that usually?
Or a trademark. Or
With the yeah.
the franchise lawyers usually can do that. Or intellectual property. But when usually they will do it, a franchise lawyer will do it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then your operational manual. This is where you give it to your franchisee, and this is where they say everything on how to run the business, like from how to the layout, how does it have to look, how do they have to hire people, how do you do the hamburgers, or how do you paint the walls. So everything, like how to pay the payroll. So every aspect of how to operate the business is there. So when you develop your franchise, you do this. You like set up an operational manual. Usually someone does it for you because it has like labor laws included and everything. So you want to have someone like that knows what they're talking about. And then you have to register in different states. Some states are you have to register before selling franchises there. Some are just like filing, like Texas, you only have to like send your documentation, they file it, and that's it, but you have to do it. Some others like New York and California, it's like a whole big process to register there. So that's why some franchises like are everywhere else, but not in California, because they have like strong regulations on franchising. Then register the filing states. Here is Texas. You don't have to do a whole process. You have to register, right? So Florida and Texas are very popular, and you just have to file once, and it's not expensive. It's just like the price of registering. So here are the registration states are the orange ones, where you have to do like a whole process before starting selling there. They review all your documentation and they go through it and they tell you what they think. So it's like a whole thing. Others, you just like file it, and others you don't have to do anything. So the light blue, you just like, if you have your document, like your federal documentations, you're good.
Okay.
Then you have to develop your team. So probably at the beginning you can do it yourself or with another person, but then you have to start hiring people and building a team, because we're going to start to grow, right? So it's not like, well, you need a development manager. That's the person that does the sales. So this is a person that when you get a client, you send them the FDD, you make sure you get the receipt, you explain the concept to them, and sell it. Why is it a good concept? How much money you're going to make, etc. You can do it yourself at the beginning, but then you will have to hire someone that like an expert on sales. Then probably like franchise construction, if they need to remodel or everything they need to have to do the setup. Then someone for onboarding and training, because there's always like initial training for like what do they have to do, at least like 1 week probably of training, depends on what they're doing. And onboarding, like when they start doing it, because they're like usually have no idea of that business, that's why they're buying a franchise. So like tell them how to start. And then operations, processes, and systems, like that's when there's like it starts running and they have like doubts, and they also have to go and check like quality control. And so there's like a person or a group of persons that do that, and it depends on the size of the franchise. There are like different things.
Okay.
The next one is how to sell your franchise. So now that you have like your documentation ready, you have to start selling it. There are like over 4,000 franchises in America. So it's something that you have, like how to sell it, something that you want to take a look at. If you do it right, it's not difficult. That's what I do. So it's not super hard, but you have to know how to do it, or have a plan. Have a plan mostly. And you have to also think, as we said before, that you sell it to the right people, and you also have to be very like develop like trust, because usually there's these people want to like quit their jobs and start doing so like a new career with you. That's a lot of the people that write franchises. Some are like just investors, or some are like E2 visas. That's a lot that want to invest in a business, and that's a good opportunity for like Hispanic franchises, because many people just buy a franchise in order to get like to live in America legally.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then, well, I've had people that don't speak any English, and like big franchises won't take them, even if they have a lot of money, because they can't take the training and they don't understand anything. So this is a good, a really good opportunity for us.
Okay.
So both ways, like they have to trust you and you have to trust them. And
okay.
right. So the selling methods are through franchise consultants. So if you join like a franchise consultant firm, if like usually they look for like franchises that are already successful, because they're easier to sell. But if you like know a consultant or something, you can join these portfolios, and then it's very good for your franchise because people will sell it. Like, okay, I have for example, like Benjamin Franklin, right? It's a popular like plumbing franchise. So we sell it, and so usually we present like 3 or 4. So we can present like yours, even if it's new, we like it and it's from our team. So we present it to clients, and that's a good way of selling. Because you can just like add it to like franchise websites, but there are like thousands of franchises there, so it's not very easy to sell that way.
Okay.
You can also go to franchise expos. That's a little bit expensive because you have to pay for the booth and everything, but that's another way. Social media, you can sell it through social media. You get the leads, and then your salesperson will sell the franchise to the leads that you get. You can also buy leads. That's a very common practice. You buy franchise leads. These are people that are looking for franchises. So you buy them and then offer your franchise. Referrals are like your friends, or if you already have franchises, or your clients will recommend your franchise, and you can probably give them like $1,000 or something for the referral. So they're like different ways, but you have to decide. And well, as a tip, it's very important that your franchise developer, so the team, like your lawyer or whoever is developing your franchise, can offer a franchise selling strategy, because that way when you finish developing, you go direct to selling. It's like you just do it with like franchise lawyers, it's gonna be like, that happened to me. That's what you buy, like you develop with a franchise lawyer. They give you like an excellent legal package, but then you want to sell it, and then you have to go knock doors. Can you sell my franchise? And then it's news and no one knows it, and it's like an extra difficulty that you will not have to go through if your developer has like a method of selling. So
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I guess that's where it helps to be in a chamber of commerce too, because you can meet people and network and find investors, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'm gonna put that there. Then you have to define your franchise support strategy. We've been talking about it. You have to think what you're gonna do to keep like quality control, customer experience on uniformity, that the same experience is in I don't know, Oklahoma than in Florida. So if you go you're a client of a franchise, that's what you're expecting, right? The same McDonald's here than in anywhere in America, the same product. So that's what you have to look at. Training, human resources, staffing, marketing and sales, and management. Oh, another very important thing is because your franchisees pay you marketing fees. So they have to do their own marketing in their area, but they also have to pay you for brand marketing. So that's where like big franchises are on TV and so. But you can be like a small franchise, like a starting, you can like set up like Groupon things or like different things that to like start promoting it. You don't have to
Gotcha.
spend a lot of money. If you have two franchisees, so they will give you their franchise fee, but they will not be good for like TV ads. But or you can like go through Facebook or
Some money, some ad money.
yeah. So but you
Mhm.
have to do that marketing so they have sales
Okay.
and management, etc. Right. And so the last part is that you have to update your franchise. As time starts going by and you start growing, you also have to look into upgrade or like keep always like improving your brand and go through the like new technologies, new ideas, the new market trends. So you have to keep improving all the time so you can offer like good value to your franchisees and your customers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't that long. That's mostly all you have to do to like start. Of course, like different stages can go like open and things you have to do in every stage, but that's kind of what you have to do.
I like it. I like it. And it seems like it's a lot, but as a business owner, I can say that a lot of these things you need it anyways, just to outline how are you going to be competitive in the market. And you have to kind of look at other businesses and find out what's going to make my business better. And I think this is a great way of kind of outlining that and preparing a really good business plan.
Yeah.
So I like everything there. Is there do you see any downfalls, anything people really struggle with when they're going through all of this, or just varies a lot?
Yes. Well, I think it's very important to see who you sell to. At the beginning, it's like exciting if someone wants to buy your franchise, but you have to look at it because if you don't, people are going to be like not following rules. Did you watch that McDonald's movie that people were selling like fried chicken at McDonald's?
Oh yeah.
So that
Yeah.
happens. So you want to like look into people that probably already have business experience or whatever you decide, but that's something very important that you have good franchisees.
That's good. That's really good to know. And
Yeah.
and that can even happen with clients, some clients not wanting to pay or something.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
some like look at that you're not uh, bankruptcy or that you have good credit or you're like stable kind of. So because they also have your brand that it took like so much work for you to create for
Hmm.
that someone else just comes and ruin it, right? You don't want to do that. So you have to choose. And then you also have to have, if you look at the for an FDD, it has like a lot of like, you will pay $10,000 if you don't open for 5 days. That sounds like unproportional, but it is so people like have the business open all the time and they do like a good job.
Hmm.
So they, like, so that you make them in case they don't want to do it.
Yeah. And that makes perfect sense. I did see the Ben Franklin plumbing thing a couple of times in Dallas. So I guess that makes sense now. You see one, and all of a sudden you see a bunch of them because it's probably they franchised it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that one, so right now the home improvement franchises are doing, you see like one roofing like starting and then 6 months later they're like all over the place. And then after a while, if they want, they can get like acquired by a big company. So they get like acquired for like millions of dollars. And that's where like probably someone like started Ben Franklin and it grow it a little bit. And then I know there's a company, like an umbrella company that bought them. And then they probably go from 30 to 1,000 that way. So
Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah, so many franchises are like they start and then they sell it for like a big amounts of money. But others, like just like the owner keeps them forever and they're successful.
Mm-hmm.
And also like the Latino franchises, some are not good at all.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen like franchises that are, not all of them, but some are marketed into the Latino community.
Mm-hmm.
And people buy them because they're like, they speak Spanish, or they're like, they're the ones that they see in their communities or in Univision, for example.
Oh.
And they buy them because they have no options. They probably have two options. And some are like super really bad, like really, really bad. You just like
Oh.
sell a lot of franchises because they're there, but they give no real support, nothing. They're not a good brand or anything. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's like a lot of opportunity there.
Mm-hmm.
There I've also seen, because I go to Mexico for like the E2 visas to the franchise shows.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a tax brand, and it's all over. Like they go to every show in Mexico and they sell a lot of American franchises
Mm-hmm.
to Mexican investors.
Oh, wow.
Because they're like the only one like that goes and promotes there, and they also promote E2 visas. But
Okay.
then I looked at their documentation and they have no item 19, whereas that's where you show your numbers.
Mm.
So they're not really like, I mean, it is a good franchise, I guess, but they're not giving like how much
What?
are you gonna make or any of that information, which almost every franchise does. So, and they're selling a lot. So I guess that's like that's like an empty niche there of opportunity for
Wow. And
Hispanic.
I can see that because there's some franchises that you would think they're doing great, they're all over the place, but they're really not. And then, I just saw it was a company, I guess I won't name it here, but they the royalty fees were too high, and then they were placing their competition right next to, they didn't have any stipulations on how far apart you should have your franchise. So the buyers were sometimes getting stuck in really bad places where they weren't selling anything. So I guess that's something to just be aware of. It's not just the name, you have to know the business, everything.
Yeah.
Right? It makes sense.
But it's a great opportunity. Like I've grown my own franchise, and I really recommend it. It's really like a great way, and it's nice and it's fun and it's
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, thank you, Barbara. That was a lot of great information. I feel like I definitely learned a lot from this. So we'll be posting this and uploading it to our channels, and of course, if you're watching the recording and you have any questions, you can always feel free to contact Barbara or contact us at the Greater North Texas. You just go to GNTHCC.org and you can book an appointment. Well, thank you, Barbara, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Hello, Juanita. Congratulations to your daughter. Bye.
Yeah.